Welcome, everybody. I'm Chris Bear, Vice President of Growth for the U.S., and I'm so excited today to be interviewing my good friend and just an all-around mega person, Gogo Bethke. Now, she is one of a kind, and you are not going to want to go anywhere to hear what she's about to say. So, Gogo, how are you today?
I am wonderful. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm excited to be here. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here today and just share with agents a little bit about yourself and what you're doing to help empower just agents all around the globe now. You are one of the fastest upcoming, if not very closer to the top for even just agent attraction and sales in the country. So we're so blessed and honored to be partnered with you, Gogo. So I'd love to just ask you, before we get started here, a little bit of how you got into real estate. We find typically that there's a motivating factor somewhere or a life event that happened where people get into real estate. So why did you get into real estate, Gogo?
Well, I don't know if it was motivating, but it was motivating enough to get out of the house. So my children, so I worked corporate America up until last minute with both of my pregnancies. And then I went back to work 9 weeks after. Like, I love working. I come from Eastern Europe. My mom always worked. So it's not a stay-at-home mom thing never even crossed my mind. Like, that's not an option at home. So I always knew I'm going to work and I'm going to make money and, just good old everyday job, everyday life. And then our second Duke, when he was born, he was 9 weeks old, we almost lost him. He got very sick. And at that point, while we were in the hospital, I realized there's no way I can imagine handing my 9-week-old baby over to a stranger so I can go back to work. So I figured money is really not that important. I have the rest of my life to make money. I'm going to stay home with them. So I did that. I did that for a year and a half. And then I also realized in that year and a half that as much as I love my babies and I love them, trust me, I love them. I would do anything. There's nothing on this earth that I wouldn't do for my children. But in the same sentence, I am not cut out to be a stay-at-home mom. So I needed to it's not a good trade, but I do value myself of what I contribute to the marriage and what I contribute to this world, and Google Gagaing all day and watching Mickey Mouse and HGTV was not cutting it for me. So I figured, okay, so my neighbor at the time, we were on the driveway playing and my neighbor stopped by and she goes, Gogo, you're so social. You have so many friends. You would make an awesome realtor. And I was like, oh, that's actually not a bad idea. I watch HGTV all day. Like, if they can do it, I can do it. Thinking, how hard can it be to be a realtor? I watch it on TV all day. And so she already talked to real estate, one on brokerage here locally. And she said, why don't you go and talk to them, interview? So I did that. They said they will even pay for my school if I pass it. Wow. So I went and got my license right away. It was $199. They reimbursed me with my first closing. So as of now, my investment of becoming a realtor is $0. And then you know how excited it is. It's a new job. You're going to
Absolutely. Yep.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to sell $1 million properties and make big fat checks. And then week 2, and then week 3, and there's freaking crickets in the office. And you're like, okay, how am I going to do this? So I went into the top producers' offices and I said, okay, tell me what you do. And so I interviewed them all, and they're like, well, we buy $7,000 Zillow leads a month, and we farm this area that costs us about $4,000, and we door knock and we cold call. So we cold call from 8 to 11 every single day. And I was like, I am not calling people begging for their business. It's against my religion. I have an accent.
So a lot different than you thought.
Oh gosh, night and
what was happening? Oh wow.
I mean, if you think about it, my name is Gogo. I have an accent. So calling local strangers so sad, asking for the listing, it's probably the wrong 1-800 number. They probably be like, yeah, no, thank you. That's weird. So no, cold calling is against my religion. Door knocking, there's no way I would go up to someone's door. I'm 5'2", little blonde, not happening. You'll never find me. Someone dig away in the backyard, never find me again. Not happening. So the list of things that I came across that was presented to me of what it takes to be a top producer, I was like, well, I'm not doing that, and I'm not doing that, and there's no freaking way I'm doing that. So then I was like, okay, in the same sentence, though, I am no loser. So if I'm doing anything, I'm on the top of the list or not on the list at all. Or if I'm doing it, I give it 150%. If I fail at it, I know I gave it all my all, and I'm just not meant to be doing that. Or I'll come out as a winner on the top. So I was like, okay, I'm not willing to do this, and this. What am I willing to do? But at the same time, if you think about it, I was broke at the time. I have no sphere of influence. I seriously don't have a single human being on this planet, not on this planet, on this continent that is related to me by blood. So I don't have cousins. I didn't go to college here. I don't have a high school friend that's going to buy a house from me. So who's going to buy from me? I don't know anybody. I live in a boonies called Pinckney, Michigan, tiny little village. So I figured, okay, I have the strangers. So I'm going to reach out to strangers. I'm going to figure out how am I going to get a relationship with strangers, and that was social media. So I started my Facebook page. I stuck it out at real estate one for 6.5 years. And then at that year, so that was 2018. And that year I did 48 transactions personally.
48, that's awesome.
Yep. And my head was spinning and I realized, hold on a minute. I didn't get into real estate. Yes, I love money. Don't get me wrong. And I love what money buys. And I came for the American dream to this country. Yeah. But not on the cost of never seeing my family, not on the cost of not being able to hold eye contact with my children, because even when I was home, this is what I was doing.
Yeah.
Just 1 minute, honey, I'm so sorry, I have to make this call. I was doing this all day and all night. We would go on vacation and I'm glued to my phone the whole time. That's no vacation. My children didn't sign up for that. So I realized at that moment, something has to give. So I was like, okay, I can up my price range to make more money. Because I could slow down 1 second.
And that's something, though, Gogo, right there, I think that so many people that are going to watch this can relate to, right? It's when we're home, we're not really home.
No.
You know, and I always joke about that, about real estate agents being entrepreneurs. They don't have a boss. We just have hundreds of bosses.
Yeah, my husband said, just like he just became a full-time agent October last year. And a couple of weeks ago, he looks at me and he goes, so let me get this straight. So I quit corporate America where I worked 40 hours so I can work 90. I was like, that's right. That's time freedom right there. You get to work all the time.
I love it.
He used to ask me when my phone would ring. And he's like, are you seriously going to answer that? I'm like, Dwayne, it's a $19,000 phone call. Should I answer it?
Yeah. It's hard. Yep. And we see it as provision for our family, for our kids. You know, it's important. So now you kind of figured out that you wanted a different avenue a little bit in life, right? So can you walk us through that journey? So you understood that so much time was being taken away. And Gogo, I stand right beside you on this. My wife and I, we are so involved in making sure that we're spending time in the right places now. Because no matter how much money you make, you can't buy back time.
No.
So what did that journey look like then from the state that you were? It seems like working nonstop, no family time. What happened next to transition into making time a priority?
So then I was like, okay, so then I went through all of so then I interview again top producers. Okay, how do you get to the next level? Because you don't ask your broke friend how to make $1 million. You ask the one they already walked the walk. So I go and interview the ones, okay, how do you go from...
Wait, can we just stop for one? I got to say, you don't ask your broke friends how to make $1 million. I love that. I love that, Go. That's awesome.
And you ask them, okay, I'm here, you're already here. So I'm at A, you're already at B. So I need you to tell me how to get to B. Because I know how to get to A, I'm already at A. How do I get to B? So you always go and ask the person who's a step ahead of you. And then when you get to that level, then you pick out the next person who's a step ahead of you. So I love asking questions. I'm like a bad 3-year-old, but why? But why? Okay, so I ask questions and I realized, okay, there's a few ways how I can make more money and work less. I can start upping my price range. That's in my control. But locally at the time here, 180 to 250 was normal. I was already at the high 300s. So if I up my price range, then I'm going to go into the gated community. And you know how that goes. Yes, it's $1 million listing, but every 7 months, I'm going to make a commission. No, thank you. I like a little bit more control over my commission. So I was like, okay, that's not an option. Then I'm like, okay, then I need to multiply myself. So then I build a team. Well, I learned that fast that I'm not necessarily a manager material. That requires a skill that I don't have. And I was raised with very tough love. I'm also very blunt. Things come out before I'm like, shoot, I should have not said that. And so it requires a skill and requires change. And I was not willing to change. So it was like, you want to be a part of my team? Here is how it works. I will teach you everything, but you're going to go for it full force like I did. And then you realize, hold on a minute, they need a team for a reason. Because if they had my drive, they wouldn't be on a team. So I can't hold it against them that they don't have their drive. That's why they're on a team. So I started 2 teams. One of them stayed with me for 6 months, and she left, and I started another team with 2 agents, and they both left on the same day after about 6 months. So I was like, okay, hold on a minute. Something has to change. If I'm not willing to change, then I can't really run a team. Then somebody else has to. There has to be a middleman. So then I was like, okay. Then KW came in the picture at that time, and they pitched this thing called profit share. And I never heard of that thing. So I was like, oh. And they also gave me a share in the title company. I was like, oh, that's passive money. Warren Buffett says if you can't figure out a way how to make money while you're sleeping, you'll never be rich. I was like,
one of my favorite quotes. Yep.
Trading my time for money, which means there's only 24 hours in a day, you're going to get a ceiling. Yeah. Nobody can give you more time. Or I make more of me, which clearly I was very good at it. So I was like, okay, we're going to have to figure this out in the middleman. So then I went to KW with the idea of profit share, with the idea that I don't have to manage those agents. They manage themselves. Here, I will give the shirt off my back. I will help you with whatever I can help you. I'll give you more knowledge than you know what to do with it. But I am not a good manager. I scare people. So I figured this way, they're not reporting to me. I will just attract them to the company. When they produce, I will make a percentage of their profit. So that was my idea of here's a way of making passive money. So I switched to KW. That was February of 2018.
Now, are you still selling during this time?
Oh, yeah. So here's the thing, like you can control your own production. It's hard to, and the other thing to back it up. It is easy to run a team it's not easy to run a team, but it's easier to run a team with money. The hard part I had, because I built everything organically, I have a very hard time spending money on things and services and leads and things like that you have to provide to those teams to be able to justify taking a cut from someone at a 50%.
Yeah.
And there's a Hungarian friend of mine, hi Alina Ferenci, I'm Hungarian too. Magyar vagyok.
Awesome.
I just saw the message on here and the Hungarian flag. So then they gave me a share in the title company, and I started building a team at KW. And by team, I mean just an organization, just like we do here at EXP. Not a local team, even though we had 2 agents on my local team at the time, but I was concentrating more of the national. So I recruited about 42 agents to KW in those 8 months that I was with them. And if it wasn't for KW, to be honest with you, and their ability to open my eyes up to profit share, I probably would have not ever had my listening ears about revenue share. And that's how in November of 2018, I ended up at EXP.
Now, things are going good.
Oh,
obviously. You've got your sales are great. You're being fed where you were at. You had different sources. So what was missing that made you make a change and now you're here at EXP?
So a few things for me. I realized, okay, I need to go and get my broker's license, because if one day, I don't know what the right word is. Probably what I want to say here is not proper. So I'm going to beep that out and say, if one day something happens, something hits the fan, I probably should have my broker's license, so then I can go and open my own brokerage. So I'm in the middle of my broker's license test. And that's when I finally someone got to me, because trust me, about 40 people tried to talk to me about EXP, and I wanted nothing to do with it. I was like, if one more person talks to me about EXP, I swear I'm going to punch him in the face. You know what I mean? Like, I am very upfront. So if you want to talk to me about EXP, grab the phone and call me and say, hey, Gogo, I want to talk to you about EXP. Don't hijack a lunch. Like, say, oh, I haven't seen you in so long. Invite me out for lunch and then turn it into an EXP pitch. Like, that's totally did not like that. So I had no listening ears on until Mark and Kurt got to me. And then finally, I was like, oh my gosh, it's a huge opportunity for many reasons. And here's one of them. I have met many top producing realtors in my career, broke, have nothing to show for, making millions of dollars and not having much to show for it, chasing the next commission. I didn't want to be 65 years old and sitting in an open house and wondering where my next commission is coming from. That's number one. Number two, when it comes to revenue, so besides stocks, the revenue share for me is huge because our oldest is type 1 diabetic, which is considered a disability. But he's a boy, which means one day he's going to be a head of his household. He can't get life insurance. You're a pilot, you said. He can be a pilot. What if he wants to be a pilot? He can't. Yeah. Because he's diabetic. He also can't have life insurance because he's diabetic. How is life fair? First of all, he didn't ask for diabetes. Did he? No, he didn't. Then why punish him even more? But he can't. And one day he's going to be a head of his household, maybe have a couple of children, and can't even get life insurance. So I felt like when I heard that revenue share is something that I can leave as a legacy to my children, eye-opening, and it was in my control.
That's really powerful. That's an amazing testament.
Something that I can leave to him, then I know when I'm no longer here, he will have something to rely on. God forbid he loses his job. God forbid something happens to him that he can't take care of his family.
Wow. So that's, I often ask agents what their big why is. And I love you just kind of sharing a big why right there without being asked. And we could tell.
You want me to tell you more? Because there's more.
I could tell you've got probably a bunch, because you're out here ready to own the day every day. And we love that, Gogo. So let me ask you, now that you've made the move over, what's happened? What does it look like now? What have you been able to build?
Oh my gosh. So last year was my first full year with EXP, and I missed Icon by $629 or something.
Oh, you were so close. Yeah. So you're selling a ton of real estate. That's awesome.
And so my anniversary date is November 1st. In September, I was so burnt out. Because now, mind you, not only then I came over with production, and I still do. On top of it, I do a lot of public speaking and coaching. On top of it, I'm a state certified mentor here at EXP. On top of it, I started Gogo's Bootcamp, which is a very successful social media training. And I travel with that, and I do boot camps, and we do online trainings and all of that. About every 2 weeks, plus minus COVID, I'm out of state. On top of it, I did agent attraction, and I seem to be very good at it. And as of today, as I shared with you earlier, I just hit 100 personally sponsored here at EXP in my 19, 20 months or so.
100 personally sponsored, not in your group, personally. While you're selling real estate still.
While I'm doing all this other stuff.
So you can attract and sell is what you're telling me, Gogo. How amazing is that?
And our stocks. I mean, Chris, I don't know if you know this, but if I can, I know you know this, you're here. But if I can do this here, same amount of work, comparing apples to apples, do the same amount of work here. But here I only get paid commission. Here I get paid commissions.
Yeah.
I get stocks. I get revenue share. And I can go on and on and on, all the preferred vendors and how we get paid. And then and on top of it, I can get my cab back. So I was like, where's the catch? There has to be a catch.
I think I was in that same position when I first looked at this, Gogo. Absolutely.
There's a catch. I literally said, give me the small print of the IC. I'm not signing it until I read it. And Kurt was like, there is no small print. Read it. So I read the whole thing, and I was like, they're not lying. So here I am.
It's life-changing.
It is life-changing.
Now, we're coming up at the end, and this was such a powerful story today. Thank you so much, Gogo. Got great people shooting out to us, shouting out to us right now. Hey, Clayton, Kim, and Robert. All right, awesome. So I like to end the show every time with something that could impact someone's life. There's someone watching right now that might just be steps away from greatness, but they just need to hear something. Gogo, can you share something with us that maybe was taught to you or someone shared it with you that helped you overcome something in your life for greatness?
I just use it with my child, the Ford quote. It's one of my favorite quotes. If you think you can do it or you think you can't, you're right. You're right. Because you can do whatever you believe you can do. So if you believe you can do it, then you can do it.
Gogo, I believe you could take over the world if you want to.
I can in this country be president because I wasn't born here. I'm pretty sure I would probably run for it.
I love it. Thank you so much, Gogo, for being on here today. And thank you for all that you do in EXP and the hundreds, if not thousands of lives that you touch for greatness. You are absolutely amazing. And thank you so much, everybody. Next week, Tuesday, we'll be interviewing another top agent. So thank you so much for joining. Have a great week, everybody.
And I have to say before we say goodbye that thank you guys so much, because I wouldn't be able to do any of this if it wasn't built by our awesome Glenn Sanford and all of the different opportunities that we are presented week by week. It is life-changing, and I can't say thank you enough for allowing me to be here.
Awesome. Thank you, Gogo. All right, everybody. See you next Tuesday. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.